Oh, yeah.
Nice guy though, him and his wife.
Oh, very nice, for sure. Sure.
Yeah, I know.
This is,
I know. We're
literally 7 years old.
It's not really fun.
And no, it's not. And it washes. You can put it in the washing machine.
How's your eyes there? It's hitting me right in the face if I lean back. You're okay, everybody?
You probably can be
How are things, Merv? I think we're on live. Are we on live TV yet there, Sandra, or is it paused? Crazy, crazy busy.
Hi, Jennifer.
But I'll stick with it. They have nicer stores in Toronto. I'll stick with your planet. Is everything great? Do you get fixed? Okay.
Lounge and run through.
Oh, nice. Never sit down.
They've got great stuff. Hello.
Hi, I have a question for you, Zoe. You're sitting down here.
just don't want
She's got a question for us.
Not a question, I have something to ask.
I don't even know if that.
I would like to know what's going on with Rista Road. I went up there to Fred's last night with my brother,
Yeah.
and I turned
Hour.
It is the
Beautiful day
appointed
together.
hour, yeah. So, you got Hootie on? We're live? Okay,
I think.
we're live. All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order. It's, any additions to the agenda? We'll go over, Tim.
Yes. I don't know how to word it, but just say destruction to gravel roads after they've been freshly graded.
So you want,
Do you want to talk about that when Jason's here?
or,
We can, that would be,
Or?
yeah, Jason is.
yeah,
Sure, we'll
We
add
should
that on,
add it and
Jason.
discuss it with you, sir.
Okay.
okay, so that'd be number 6, gravel roads, we'll just put down. Anything else?
Not at this time.
Murph?
Nothing.
No? No. Jennifer?
No, just the items that your mother brought to our attention for Jason when he
Yep.
gets here. I wrote them down so we don't forget any of
Okay. All right,
the potholes.
potholes, Bristol
Potholes,
Road.
yeah.
Okay, and I have nothing, so can I get a motion to accept the agenda? Brent? Okay. Any pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Approval of the minutes of the committee meeting of October 23rd. Tim? Okay. Sounds good. And we'll move forward. Delegations. Kevin Lewis. Join us up here, please.
The heck was that?
Where's the cell phone?
Oh.
Connie was checking.
Where would you like me?
Just
Right
right there,
there,
sir. There's fine.
Is it?
Okay, Kevin.
So first off, Madam Mayor, thank you very much for allowing me this opportunity to speak to you. My wife and I are here because we have great concerns with living here in Eganville to this point. At this point, my wife and I both feel we are being harassed, bullied, and intimidated by this council for the operations of this council. And I'll go into this further if I may. First off, I guess I'll just, you were provided with my agenda. It has altered a little bit, and I do apologize that. I'm sure our discussions from the last few days has altered that. I will start, however, by just simply asking one question about the Municipality Act, because it doesn't really describe within the town website whether or not this is a lower tier municipality or a higher tier municipality. Can I ask exactly which one we are?
Absolutely. We are a lower tier municipality. We are now referring to the lower tiers as local tiers. The upper tier, that is our, the County of Renfrew, has 17 municipalities in it. So 17 county councillors, as it were, and the warden is the head of the County of Renfrew.
Perfect, thank you. So what I will do is I'll just refrain from the other questions I had on the agenda so that I can now go back. I do have a good understanding of what the higher tier as well as the lower tier do. Now I need to actually put that to example. So I'll refrain from asking any more questions. The second agenda point that I had, which was the principal reason why I was here or coming here in the first place, was the open fire policy. I had a question to the fire chief who referred me back to this council, and that if I had questions, I had to come to the council and get it. I was quite surprised that I was being sent to the council because upon my research, the exact same bylaws in which apparently this council is the one that creates and actually votes on is the exact same policy, word for word, that comes from the province.
That is
So,
correct.
Mysteriously, between now and then, I was contacted by the province of Ontario and provided a more than suitable answer as to why there's an open fire ban between a certain time frame and a certain time frame. I'm more than content with that explanation, although I don't agree with it. And the reason why I don't agree with it simply is because if we have a closed fire band or a fire band as is displayed into the community, I don't understand why we need nonsense on our open fire burns to be reminded that we're only allowed to burn 2 hours before nightfall, up to 2 hours before sunrise. Upon my research of the history of this can go back as far as 1918. And if that's what we are relying to put our bylaws into play, I gotta question some of that logic. To me, it doesn't seem very logical that we're trying to clean up our private properties to avoid further fires. But at the end of the day, if that's the response from the province and that's our position as a community to follow those, then so be it. I have another question though. I gotta wonder why, if on the Ontario provincial website it says, if there's no restrictions or no fire bans, why do we still require to come in here and get a open fire burn policy when the Ontario says right on the provincial website, you don't require one as long as you meet the same criteria?
Okay, so we cannot supersede what the province does. So when the province has legislation, we in essence are children of the province and we must follow what they say.
Got no problems with
Okay.
that, and I do understand that. My question is, why does the province not require open fire pit burn or open fire perm or policy?
I'm sorry, you're
And
asking
we
about,
do here,
you're asking about the burn permit itself.
correct?
Okay, so the burn permit realistically is so that residents understand the time of day, the size, that you have to have water available, that you can't leave it alone. Those are just parameters that we put in place so that somebody couldn't say, well, I didn't know that I had to stay with my fire the entire time. And because we've made it free and online, we thought that it was probably the simplest way to do it. Other municipalities I know charge for their burn permits. We never wanted that, but it gave us sort of the feeling that our residents would know these are the rules and now you've signed off, so you have to follow them.
Oh, I get that. All I'm asking is why does the province say you don't need one? Our municipality does. And I would caution the other municipalities that are charging for it.
Yeah.
They want to be extremely careful on that because that is the difference between a local municipality and a higher municipality. One is legal, one is not.
Okay,
The other thing, with us having a permit, it also gives,
Sorry, sir, who are you?
yeah, we probably should have introduced
Thank you very
ourselves.
much.
so it also gives us the ability that if somebody reports a fire in, that we know there's a fire that's already being taken place, if somebody's burning grass or whatever. So you're not gonna have, if there's a burn permit on record, then we know that there is controlled fire there, not a fire that's not controlled.
You know that makes no sense.
Yes,
It doesn't make any sense because I can assure you, wouldn't matter whether you have a fire permit or not. If what just happened to me, if you're telling me this is the reasoning behind me, what just happened to me, if the council or its representatives are not going to do their homework for what just happened to me on Friday, I can assure you, in an emergency situation, they're not going to take 5 minutes to see whether there's a burn permit there or not. They're first responders. They will turn around and they will act accordingly. So if you're trying to actually convince me of that, that's not the case.
Actually, what happens is when 911 is called and the pager goes off, the fire chief checks to see if there's a burn permit. At that time, he uses that phone number to phone the person to say, are you still under control? So he makes sure that they are out by the fire, etc., that they're following the rules. That is what Jack is referring to.
They have that much time and that much confidence
They
that
do
they're
it
gonna
from
be
their
able to-
vehicles
that they're
all
going
the
to be
time.
able to get a hold of someone to confirm that?
That's been our process.
Okay, so again, I'll just go off the next set of questions again. If that is the difference between what the province does and what the municipality is, if that's your reasoning behind it, at least my question is answered. I may not agree with it, but at least it's answered. Last year, my wife was fined $650 for burning sensitive personal information. This fine was issued by the province. When I questioned the last CAO of this inquiry, and this is not the chief administration officer, we all know who that was, I was told the fire chief received direction from the province to report all illegal fires, and they would deal with it. When I asked for a confirmation letter, I was advised that the direction was given verbally over the phone directly to the fire chief, and there was no letter or direction that could be provided. I found this to be rather odd. So I went to 3 other fire halls within the fire ban area and spoke with the fire chiefs, on one occasion to a deputy fire chief, and asked what they had received with regards to the direction given on illegal fires during the ban. One fire hall informed me that they issue all warnings and fines to repeat offenders, and the maximum fine they could give was $250. Another fire chief simply told me they had not received any verbal or written direction from the fire or higher desk officer within the province. Because I can assure you the last CIO did use the word desk officer. The last one told me it's only the discretion of the fire chief to go higher, but this does not usually occur unless it's a simple, multiple repeat offender, and even that is questionable. So I understand the powers of punishment because I was the one that had to make those decisions when I was charging my young soldiers. So I understand how that works and what the powers of punishments are. My only question is, I've also been around the block long enough to know that if province is issuing a municipality with the direction, it's not done verbally, and it's not done over the phone, and it's not done to just one fire hall. So that's my concern. In addition, this incident revealed the necessary use of emergency vehicles, meaning sending a rescue truck to a simple barrel fire. It also brought into question the integrity of the fire chief, the deputy fire chief, and the firefighters who attended and their affidavits presented, which I have physically reviewed and am in a copy of. It brings further into question the operating procedures, the misuse of public funds, the unnecessary endangerment to not only the first responders themselves, but the citizens of this community. A so-called emergency was no emergency whatsoever. Call it your job if that's what allows you to sleep comfortably at night, or simply call it for what it is. It was completely unnecessary. What occurred simply cannot be swept under the rug, but should require a complete review of all the details that occurred, but to my knowledge never has been. So my questions are, was an internal review conducted with regards to this simple fire? If not, why not? If it was, is it public? Is it available for public review? And if so, where can it be found? Who oversees the actions of the fire hall with regards to standard operating procedures, misuse of public assets, and public funds? Can someone in council explain to me how often the province gives direction verbally to the municipalities and not to others during a fire ban? And lastly, what is the complaint policy for this municipality? Is a resolution, guideline, or procedure put in place to properly deal with concerns or complaints? If so, where can we find this? Or is this just another fly-by-the-cuff kind of thing that we can deal with on an individual basis? At the end of the day, this municipality requires to deal with all complaints or concerns in a professional manner. In other words, do your homework first. Do not make assumptions, then pass your failures off as simply protocols. Lastly, if it's a standard protocol to accept being bullied, imitated, and harassed, then do we ever need to bring forth our complaints? So I guess my first question is, was a review ever completed of this incident?
If it was, that wouldn't have been at the council table because the fire chief reports to the CIO.
Okay, so let me ask this council, who oversees the operations of this municipality?
The CIO,
Solely,
yes.
with no overseeing from this council whatsoever?
We create policy, we make decisions, and then we send it to the CIO.
Okay, so then I guess I should ask the reverse question on this. If these gentlemen here before me have the prerogative, or as you said, the action to go to the CAO with the complaint they have received, how does it work back and forth?
Okay, first of all, let's remove the word complaint. It was never a complaint, ever.
It doesn't matter,
It
Madam
was-
Mayor, it does not matter whether it's a complaint, it doesn't matter
It was-
whether it's a concern.
It was
A
just
concern?
question.
A concern and a complaint is the exact same thing. When I'm starting to feel harassed in this community, and I have representatives from this council taking action through the CAO, and people showing up at my doorstep without this council doing their homework first, coming onto my property and harassing me when it was unnecessary, I don't care if it was a question asked. I don't care if it was a complaint. and I don't care if it was a concern. If someone in this municipality simply would have done their job right from the very beginning, they would have never came to my property and asked the question. Because I did go to the neighbors, and I will finish it off tonight. The neighbor that I went and saw said they've lived there for 35 years and have never had a water problem on that side of the road.
Well, the question was asked. And I believe that the counselor involved took it to the CAO, who asked the roads department just to check. That's as simple as that.
And you know what? And had you guys done your job, and you simply would have went into that office over there, you would have easily found out that I was right, that I did in fact do everything that the municipality asked me to do to put in those accesses, and I was told I could put them in without putting any culverts there. It's kind of odd that all of a sudden I have put in my complaints here, and the next thing I know is I've got people knocking on my doorstep, intimidating.
This is an issue that came up over some of
Could I ask
council
something?
doesn't, yeah. Some of council doesn't know what we're
And
talking
the
about.
other issue that I have, being a ward councillor myself, in the past,
But the guy that thinks this is funny knows what we're talking about.
Nothing
Guy
He
funny.
doesn't think it's funny.
I don't think
Yes,
it's
he
funny.
is. Yes, he is.
No.
Yes, yes.
No,
He is smiling, he is laughing. This is not funny. Our family is feeling harassed and unsafe in this neighborhood.
okay. It was never the intent of any of us, nor the CAO, nor with the roads crew, to cause any angst. Councillor Rosner apologized if you felt harassed or intimidated. It was never the intention.
I don't got a
But
problem with the apology. I don't want it. What I don't like is I don't like the excuse, because that's
Explain.
bogus.
That's not an excuse. That's
I just
That's
what the,
have to
bogus.
that's what the
It is
concern
bogus.
was.
It's a bogus.
Well, whatever. The concern is what the concern is.
That's
I just have to
exactly
say
whatever.
this. Can
That's
I
exactly
just, I've never really spoke about this.
It's not really allowed, but I think we
Okay.
should allow it.
Okay,
And then I
so the
wanna move-
reason
I
why
wanna
we're
move on
feeling
to-
this way is because, yes, I did burn illegally. I paid the fine. That day, I asked Scott Dawson, who's the deputy chief, who was gonna give me the fine. He said it was gonna be the fire chief. So when it went to the province, and then we had wardens show up on our property, uninvited, with their hand on their gun, because we have a German Shepherd, we were scared, and we are feeling harassed.
Okay.
Why wasn't I told that why was I told the fire chief was gonna give me the fine, and then it goes to the province, and then we're having a party for two of our soldiers, my son and son-in-law, that are going over to Afghanistan, and we asked the wardens, can you wait till tomorrow or the next day? Like, we're busy here. And first of all, we were shocked to see them there. Why are they even there? Because we were told, I was fully expecting a fine in the mail from the fire chief.
And I gotta be honest
So
with
this
you.
is the stuff that's escalating. And when this guy showed up yesterday, day before,
Friday.
showed up, our backs are already up.
Okay.
All right,
Thank
so this is going to escalate out of
Okay.
control if nobody does anything.
thank
You
you,
have
Mrs.
to-
Lewis.
you have
I
to
think,
understand.
Tim,
You have to understand, Madam Mayor, my problems with this. My previous job and what I did out west on my last job, I can assure you that if I was in a position of authority, which your husband happens to be, your fire chief, if I received, let's assume that it did happen. If I did receive some type of form of direction, you can be rest assured that I'm going to brief it downhill. So when all of a sudden we're being told one thing and something else happens, it's a crock of shit at the end of the day.
please watch your language.
My apologies, ma'am. And to be quite honest with you, I don't have an issue if people make mistakes. All they have to do is admit to them. I'm sorry, Tim, please go ahead.
I thought you had your hand up.
No, no, I don't.
Just say something
Yes.
first then. The misunderstanding though about the driveway might have come from me because both I'm new to the CAO role and so is the road super. I honestly never thought to ask Mark. I just asked.
I wouldn't have either.
So I sent the road super just to check.
Sandra, I gotta be honest with you.
never thought to start with Mark.
Sandra,
honestly never did
I gotta
till
be
you
honest
said
with
it.
you. I know where the problem lies, and it's not with you. That I can assure you.
Okay, but I probably should have started with Mark.
I would have never thought to start with Mark.
No, I didn't think that either.
We're running out of time here.
So that's the
can
last
we-
thing, the last thing I'll mention is this, and I won't go into the, and I do appreciate the time, Madam Mayor, that you have given me. So the 5G network,
Oh.
we will cancel for that
No,
for now.
no.
And I'll tell you the reason why. I wasn't aware that there was a meeting on the 16th of November here in Eganville. I'm going to take that time to go there first. I do not want to waste this council's time with regards to the 5G. And I'm sure,
Oh,
and
the
I'm-
reason I didn't email you back about the 5G is that I wanted to take this opportunity to shut the rumors down. You are not the first person, nor the second person, nor even the fifth person that has brought this to our attention, not only here in Bonnechere Valley, but as a county-wide, that people are saying that we are a test site. We are not. We aren't even close. The rumors going around that the new tower by the library is 5G, it is not. It's 3G.
So
Go and
I-
sit with your phone.
so then I can leave knowing that we are not involved with this whatsoever.
No, sir.
Can I
Perfect.
say something? So I actually put a resolution forward back in the spring,
In April,
in
yeah.
April, that says that there will be no 5G done in our municipality without public consultation.
Oh, perfect.
Okay?
And just so you know, this
No.
thing at the Eagle's Nest on the 16th, that was not put together by us. And they chose the Eagle's Nest because we are the geographic center of Renfrew County. Makes it far easier for anybody that wants to come. And it's also a great venue for a meeting such as this. It looks like they've got 3 panelists. They're going to be speaking on the health concerns, but I think also the privacy concerns.
They're speaking, I'm well aware, Madam Mayor, that exactly what they're speaking on. I still intend to go and
Oh.
attend, but the good thing is
I'm going.
if by any chance they do say that it is, then I've got no problem stepping forward and saying, according to the council, this is not happening. So,
And I think there was a rumor going around that we had signed something with Bell to bring in 5G. That never happened. I've been sitting here now for 9 years. It never happened. So I'm not sure why this grew legs. I think maybe with all of the concerns in the media about the health concerns, privacy concerns, and all of that, I think that people are feeling a bit skittish, especially because we just got the funding through the Eastern Ontario Regional Network for cell service all over Eastern Ontario. 99% of people will be able to phone 911, and that is not the case right now. So not only do we not have the technology in place right now to go to 5G, we also don't have the funds and we don't have the topography. So I'm going to be there on the 16th. I absolutely want to hear what the panelists have to say. The privacy concern is, I think, a big one for everyone on top of the health concerns. But our resident expert is actually Jack. Did you want to just touch on this?
Well, all I can,
Especially for our viewers, because I think that this is an important thing for us as a community to shut down the rumors.
well, all I can say is if you wanted to bring 5G in, the cost to bring it into this environment, there's no way they would recoup their cost. You're looking at a cell site every 200 to 300 meters. They're going to need a cell site for 5G to work. And we just don't have the capacity in our environment in this county to support 5G. And when they're going to test 5G, the testing for 5G is going to be done in an environment that's going to support the antennas and the network when it's installed. And we don't have the volume or the capacity to support that.
So no return on investment.
No, there's no return on it.
Yeah.
So why would you put it in an environment that you're not, the cell providers are not going to see a return?
Exactly. So shortly after Tim brought the resolution, I happened to be in Kingston at an Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus meeting. And when I logged into the Delta's Wi-Fi, my iPad said 5G. And I thought, no way. So I hotspotted to my phone the entire time I was there, which is very expensive. But I thought, I'm not taking the chance, right? There's so much stuff that I'm doing that I wasn't going to take the chance of being hacked. So Yeah, I was actually, that's why I didn't email you back about that, because I thought, no,
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I do-
gotta be
do-
public.
I do appreciate the information on that. I think it's a very wise decision on behalf of this council. With regards to what I just brought up, with your blessings, now that I understand exactly council's role between you, your employees, in which the CAO is your point of contact, I would ask your blessing now to sit down with Sandra so that we can get past this. I will work with her specifically on my concerns so that I do not have to come back here again and waste this council's time.
Kevin, you're not wasting our time. You're not.
I may
This-
not be wasting your time,
No,
but
you-
I'm leaving here with zero answers.
Okay, but not understanding how the municipality works that's a general theme. So we are policymakers. We have one direct report employee. It is our CAO. Every other employee reports to that CAO. So I get that you're not feeling like you're getting answers, but the most recent concern, that protocol was followed. And I will tell you, in the next election, there will be no ward councillors. So it'll be open season for all of our residents to speak to any councillor they want to and not have to worry, oh, I'm in Grattan, so I have to talk to Tim.
Even right now, they speak to whoever they're comfortable speaking with.
Or who they see at the grocery
Or
store,
wherever they see. And
right?
it's not like you can only speak to your council that represents you.
Well, and so the messiness would have been Jack to Tim, so this would have been telephone tag now. Jack to Tim, to Sandra, to Jason. So now you've got more people involved, the story changes. I see the former mayor is sitting back there nodding along with me. He knows the broken telephone game, but that's what happens. So obviously the whole township, but when I receive a complaint, that's what I do. I go straight to, Sandra's new, of course, but straight to the CA. So, yeah, I have no problem. Sandra, you're comfortable sitting down with Mr. Lewis? Excellent.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any questions of me, gentlemen?
No, I just wanted to make sure you're aware that three of us were not on council until we weren't officially sworn in until December.
I'm well aware of that.
So just to make sure.
No, I understand that part. That's why I didn't really want to bring that there, but there are some unanswered questions that need to be. And it seems to me, and it still appears to me, that it's been one incident to another. And as a former harassment advisor and investigator, ward counselor, chief of operations, it's starting to look very, very suspicious, whether it is or not. And that will be for myself and now the chief administration officer to work out.
And I apologize that we can't answer the questions about the province. I believe, and I don't know,
I'm not
it's from
unaware.
MNRF, and I don't know how it came about.
I got to be honest with you, I'm not surprised of any huge disconnects between municipalities, provinces, and even province to the national level. I've worked on all operations, strategic planning, the whole 9 yards, and I am more than aware of how things get disconnected when it comes from the top down.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thanks.
Who's coming in for Daryl? Just reading this report then?
I don't think we have a report.
Don't have a report, didn't see it.
I'm guessing
We're assuming he's hunting.
hunting
Yeah.
season, I forgot to take him off this morning.
If you have to
Yeah,
take them
he's
off.
hunting for another week after this. Talk to the water guys.
Okay. So we're just waiting on
Jason here?
Jason.
Jason should be here shortly.
Yeah.
Is he hunting or is he hunting or is he on his own?
No, he's here. Yeah.
I seen him walk by. Oh, that's what it is. Our clock wasn't set.
Yeah, it screwed me up too.
Hmm.
It is not 3:00.
No.
Hi, Jason.
All right.
Not too bad. How's Jason today?
All right.
Short some staff this week?
few.
A few.
It's a bit skinny.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
But we're getting all the trucks ready to go, so. That's what we gotta work on right now. So first on the agenda is the construction. Fort Chute is just about completed. They are doing shouldering today. And there will be a little more cleanup to do along the edges with asphalt and whatever else. Grist Mill is paved. And they're gonna come in and do the shouldering, probably start today. So it will be completed probably by tomorrow at the latest.
Did we ever speak with North Algona Wilberforce about that road reconstruction?
Yes,
Okay.
there was some talks. I can't remember.
Might have been prior to you taking over too.
Yes, it
Yeah.
was, yeah, because I
Okay.
think Brent, I dealt with you, right?
Just, I see that there's a petition going to their council tonight, and I was just out of curiosity,
Yes.
you know.
If I recall, for the scale of it, didn't really make sense for us to get together on that
No.
project. It's just a scale. If we're doing like the same what we're doing on Fort Chute, then it would have made more sense. But
And who knows when they're gonna move ahead, right?
Thank you.
Queen Street, we were talking with Greenwood today, and they will be planning on doing the rest of their gutters on Queen to prep for pulverizing probably next week.
Great.
Then that will be up to snuff. Eastway is just prepping for their sidewalks to be replaced where the water mains were put in. We also had a bridge inspection done by McIntosh and Perry. McIntosh and Perry, because of the funding, we wanted to get that in place first.
Yeah.
They'll be looking after that. Alex, I can't remember what his last name is.
Yeah.
Through McIntosh and Perry, he's doing the paperwork on that study to get the application completed.
So what, you don't know what the study was, or?
It was just to look at the infrastructure on the bridge. I got a boat and I had to take them out and they took pictures. And
I'll be looking to see if there's any spalling or anything going on.
yes,
Underneath the bridge. and stuff.
underneath the bridge,
Underneath the
the water where the water level generally sits, just to see if the purging around
Yeah.
the stones and that kind of stuff is good or isn't. Where there will be have to have some work done.
We're only one of 3 municipalities in all of Renfrew County that is eligible for this connecting link funding. So we certainly, and they love shovel-ready projects, so I appreciate getting in front of this.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, that was done. We also had an MOE inspection at Ruby Transfer, Lake Tier Transfer, and Snowdipper sites. It went quite well. The inspector is new at it also. She just wanted some more signage and make sure that everything was to where it should be. The hazardous waste depot has been closed as of October 12th. Drainall came in and picked up all the waste oil and any of the barrels that were full. So everything is cleaned up and it's good for winter. There was a resident complaint about the crosswalk signals and how they activate at the traffic lights.
Yeah.
I talked to the engineer who does the annual inspection on them. He is sending up a technician to check the timing on the lights. When they did their inspection, that was not part of that inspection.
Okay.
It deals with a different person. So that's,
So you might have a fix for it then.
I might, yes,
Okay.
I might.
Right now, it's Highway 60
Yeah,
preference, right?
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
that's, so anything coming down 60 and 41 through
Gets preference.
gets priority. So the light automatically changes with that flow. Otherwise, to go across 60, 41, you have to activate with buttons.
Yeah. Okay.
And-
That, and it's, I think there was an article or people were watching it on Hootie, and I've had other people say, yeah, you know, I was going to the Fresh Mart and I had the same problem. So, you know, I think that people don't realize they're having the problem, but they don't say anything, and
No.
then we don't realize that it's a bit bigger. So if the technician can find a better solution,
That's
that
right.
would be great.
And also I did, I just went down and checked the timing on it myself. It ranges from between 40 seconds to a minute and 30 plus, depending on traffic flow.
Depending on when you push the
Okay.
button.
Yeah.
Because the traffic coming down overrides it.
That's right. That's right.
So hopefully they can put in like a minimum time, a
Well,
minimum
but-
and maximum.
Yeah. Yeah. that's
Yeah,
right.
because 40 seconds doesn't seem like a very long time.
No, that was the wait time.
Oh, that was the
Before it would-
wait time.
before it would
Oh, my
change,
apologies.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, that was the
Okay.
wait time. Sorry.
But how long was the push time? Same? Did you notice? Or did you time that?
Yeah, it was roughly anywhere between that 40 seconds to whatever.
And I do notice as soon as you get out of the loop, it's back
Yeah.
the other way very quick too.
Mhm.
So
So anyway, that, I'm just waiting on the engineer to get back to me on what they found. He said there's obviously something wrong, because it
Okay,
should be switching quicker.
perfect. Good.
Mhm.
So after the last council meeting, Bill had contacted the county, which was Jason Davies, cancel the spraying.
Yeah, we already did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I
Bert.
think they did, every municipality that wanted to buy in, they did them all at once.
It was, sorry,
Yeah, no, I was interested in that. Was that done by county employee or contractor?
contractor.
And when was it done, do you know?
Yes.
I got a whole lot of problems with that.
No, I think it was
It was
done,
October 3rd, I believe.
yeah, like,
Could you,
I was gonna say September 30th,
Okay.
so,
could you put a note to self
Yes.
to look in May or see what the kill is?
Yep.
For this reason, I'll just take a minute. For this reason, normally, the chemicals used on that is the principle that it's a extra strong fertilizer and the plant grows to kill itself.
Right.
How do you get a dormant plant to grow to kill itself? Hey, yeah, come on.
yeah.
I mean,
I wish I could answer this question. We
No,
were
no,
just
no.
told that all the spraying had been
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't remember what the date was when Bill and I were at the county building to talk about this.
I'd be interested to see what kill rate they got, because how do you get it, if you
Yeah,
spray
that's something
in October, the plants are already dormant.
Yes, right.
Normally you spray in the spring or when the full growth, even a dry period in the summer, you don't spray.
No, no. Sorry. Anyway, we had to wait for the county to do all their surveys and get their mapping done. So that was, I guess, the whole.
I mean, if you want a book about that thick for bedtime reading, I've got the chemical applicator manual.
There was a lot of work that had to go into doing this because of the province and it being a noxious weed and all the rest. There was,
Be interested to see what the kill is.
it will too. You're correct.
Just I can't believe that a spraying company would spray that late. They know that. They know. that. And you don't spray sumac when the leaves are falling off.
No.
No. And you use my contact spray. No.
So we had the speed sign set up on Hartwick Street and the data has came through. There was 341 vehicles total. So now 0 to 50 kilometers an hour, there was 304 vehicles at that speed. 51 to 60 kilometers an hour, there was 35. 61 to 70, there was 0. And that was it.
All right.
So
I would say, I would think that perhaps we should put it out there again. It's been in the news, of course, and in the fray, people are talking about it. I'll be interested to see if with the winter season coming, what it's like.
Mhm.
And I think the winter's coming today, by the way. I hate to tell you that.
I hope not. Now, we did put it on Jane Street also.
Oh, good.
We have the data for that. There was 2,324 vehicles on Jane.
Wow.
There's 73 were from 51 to 60 kilometers an hour. 61 to 70 kilometers an hour, there was 3. And that was the extent of it.
It's still not acceptable.
No.
Basically, everybody's speeding.
Yes. Now, other municipalities, I believe, I've seen some data on it. They are putting their speed limits down from 50 to 40.
Especially in a school zone.
So
Maybe it's time. Maybe Jane and Hartwood.
yes, for sure. I would think.
A lot of kids walking on the streets.
I know, and the arena's there. It might be time.
So
Yeah,
something that we passed to do that?
yeah.
I see her on John Street today,
Yes.
and I came in at 49.
It's not a game, Murph.
47.
Not a game.
We also had.
High score does not win.
No,
We also had some complaint about John Street, so that's why we had the speed sign up there to collect some data on that. But you've got construction vehicles that were traveling, a lot of the vehicles are that rate
Right.
because of the construction that's going on. Hopefully the data comes in and that's good. I need some direction on the chipped windshield from McGrath at the last meeting that was brought up.
I think for $73.
so the problem.
Yeah.
Good.
I think it's an act of goodwill.
Yes. Okay. It's on my agenda.
Okay,
Anything else?
Yes.
I have some stuff.
Uh-oh.
Number one, do the bus lines have your cell phone number?
Yes.
Excellent, because apparently there was a tree down and I suppose nobody phoned you. Some farmer was cutting it off the road apparently.
I have no idea.
Okay,
No, they do have my.
But they
cell
do.
phone. Yeah.
excellent. All
They
right,
do of yours, your new one? Yeah, yours, not Bill's, right?
No, they haven't.
excellent. Apparently Risto Road needs some grading in a desperate way. And once again, those nasty old potholes on Augsburg Road,
Crimson Maple too.
you can patch them and yeah.
I have a list made up.
Yeah, that's it. So if the guys come back from hunting, you have some work for them.
Hopefully, if it's not close to too bad, yes, we can.
Have you got anything right about Cormac Road?
Yes,
Okay,
That's
well,
on the
I got a
list.
complaint about it, but I was too busy hunting to go and look at it.
that's on the list also.
That must be some list, Jason.
It is a full page plus. Our fall is closing in too quick.
It was sleeting out there.
So what happens now with Queen if it does decide to go with what it looks like in the upcoming temperatures of nothing above 1 in the next foreseeable future, Jason?
What Mr. Plummer has said is that he will not pulverize
Okay,
and he will, until he wants to have the pulverizing done, grade it up, have it set all in place, and then he'll pay. So there's no frost gets into the base.
okay,
Okay.
because it looks like some pretty cold temperatures from here on through. I think it's gonna be the same as last year. I mean, I'm not the weatherman, but one other thing too, and I don't know, it's something that really kind of irked me last week. I had received some complaints about Silver Lake Road not being graded. It was graded, thank you very much. And no sooner was that grader gone through and somebody come with a four-wheeler and started doing donuts on the road. And what I wanted to ask council, what do you think, or is there, how do we tackle that problem? Because it's not the first time I've seen it. It's almost like it sends off a bell, like, to these people that want to. And the person, I'm saying it was between the ages of 20 and 30 that was doing it. Wasn't a kid or whatever, so.
Last summer, same thing. The ATV club graded the old railroad line, and two guys in ATVs and not kids did donuts and cut ruts into it and come up onto my property and did donuts and cut ruts.
But But this
No
is what I'm
vaccination
saying,
is
it's our tax dollars
I know.
looking after the grader to
Yeah, I
do
know, I
so.
know.
And people, we're trying to keep everybody's investments, either vehicles.
We also
You know.
pay $750,000 in OPP costs.
So,
And the resident nearest where this incident was happening should be given the advice that, yes, they can phone 911. Is it the preferred method? No, I wish that this never happened. But the fact of the matter is, if this is mischief, then somebody needs to know about it.
you probably wouldn't have to call 911. You could
No,
call
call the
310.
call the detachment.
Detachment, yes. So-
Sorry.
No, and
Not
that's one thing,
911.
it's disheartening because, like I say, I know the guys have been very busy this year, especially. There's been a lot of stuff, and I know they're stretched very, very thin. And, like I say, I was glad that you did take the time and do that, but it was very frustrating when the grader had just went past and it was, very frustrating.
Makes
Very
it-
It's nice and loose now.
Yeah.
It's nice and loose and making runs.
Makes you feel any better. Did you watch the news last night where they shut down a multi-lane highway to let them turn donuts?
No.
Yes.
One other thing before Jason leaves, Sunset Lane.
Yeah.
Can we talk, I spoke with a resident of Sunset Lane. What is it exactly that they want? Do they want us to form an agreement with North Algona to plow? Do they want us to annex it into Bonnechere Valley? Do you happen to know what the crux of this request is?
I have no idea.
You don't? Okay.
I have looked into what the,
And I apologize,
Resolution.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I just thought I should bring it to you.
I have looked at the resolution for adopting. It has to be put up to the township specs.
And so what you're saying is it's not at this time?
I didn't get a chance to go over and measure and
Okay.
do everything that it would take to see. I do believe this was brought up either last fall or last spring.
Yeah. And apparently with NAW Council as well. That's, I didn't really know what had
Okay.
transpired.
Right. And as far as I know, Bill and Brian said it was not up to standard.
Okay.
I
So,
don't know why we want to fix the road that's not in our township.
oh, no. They would have to bring it to the
Actually-
66 foot and everything else. However, are we plowing our portion? Oh, we're considering it a private road.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
So it was an accident that it got plowed that one time.
yes. It was.
But boy, did they ever like that.
Yeah, that was an accident.
New driver, right?
So,
That's fair.
yes.
All right.
Right after that, that's why it was kind of.
Yeah.
Did we ever find the pegs on the parking lot across from Conway's? The survey pegs, just to
Oh,
see.
yeah, I was gonna ask that.
I know Bill, I think it was in the winter time last year that he was gonna look for them. I couldn't find them. He's obviously, there's like 10 feet of snow everywhere. Just so we can kind of see if we can push the boxes back, like it'd be an agreement obviously with the owner of it. But just so maybe before the winter starts.
There are survey pegs at the back where the stairs are,
Yes.
but I've never seen one at the front.
Well, you can measure out, like we
Measure
can.
out, we can
find them.
measure off,
They
yeah.
just couldn't find any last year from what Bill had
Yeah.
said, so.
It was,
Just before the winter, hopefully you can find those, so over the winter we can kind of figure out a game plan for next year.
Sounds good?
Yeah, because a lot of the problem there is the vehicles park almost right at the
Oh,
flower
yeah.
boxes, right?
So you
So,
can't see.
yeah, that's the whole.
I think it's just a matter of time, and then just secondly, I was speaking with someone on the weekend, and just maybe, I think it's something to think about, is just what we can do for the courtesy crosswalk. It's just, I've had like someone that I've probably talked to a couple of people now recently that started bringing it up more and more, so it's kind of something, if we do have a solution that we can do for it.
But just remember, we put a flower planter, I believe, beside BMO. And people decided now to park beside the flower planter on this side. I've seen them doing that now, almost into the cross with the vehicles hanging out.
Over the one sign.
Oh.
Back end.
Yeah,
Because they
yes,
figure they can
yes.
go right
Oh, I
tight
haven't
to it.
seen that.
I have,
But
I try
I,
and fix it and it shoved them out further. It shoved that person out further.
of course, but I pulled out of Benson's and the last time I was there, I thought, thank goodness I drive a truck and not a car. I couldn't imagine being, because they're all pickup trucks lined up
Yeah.
against those flower boxes. So if you, I mean, you'd be substantially lower than in my truck. It's very dangerous. And I will go back to the asker of the question about Sunset Lane, Jason.
Yes.
I'll take care of
So-
that. Thank you.
Now that we're speaking in that location, I had seen they had it marked when they did the plastic, where was the strip? Were the reflective rumble strip markers going in this year or not?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
Okay.
what I've been told.
okay.
I don't know what the delay was. It was supposed to be done 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, because I know when I was coming around, I seen they had it all marked out and it looked like it was ready to
It's
go
all
and
pre-marked and
still nothing in the ground. but
And
okay.
I know
Oh,
everyone's delayed a lot this year.
Yeah, I will.
I didn't
We'll
realize
call and
that
see
that's
what
what
the-
those
No,
markers were.
that's, that's fine, Jason, you know, I just didn't know if they were gonna leave it or not.
Yeah,
No, that was supposed to be slated. Now, whether the company that's doing it, whether they have problems getting backlogged, I have no idea.
It can happen for sure.
Well, everybody's in a hurry now because of the weather.
Jack Frost is nipping at her toes.
there's a great tweet from Graydon Smith. He's the mayor of Bracebridge. He said, when I was a kid, I would say, oh my goodness, look, it's snowing, yay. Now as a mayor, I go, oh, shoot, that's the end of my winter control budget.
Yes, hopefully it's not as bad as last year.
So
Oh,
we are prepared on that end, good to go.
Then you gotta be an optimistic farmer, it's gotta get better.
that's right.
That's all you know.
There's no salt shortage or anything this year, everything looks good. Jason?
Everything looks good.
Oh.
Actually, we found another supplier that's gonna stock some. But hopefully it wouldn't be as expensive as it was last year.
If you do need some
That
later on.
was,
What's that?
If you do need some later on,
Yes,
you have a supplier that's closer.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's good.
The other company is going to, they use a lot of it too, but they're gonna try and keep stockpile.
that was a comedy of errors, though. That kind of winter and then
Yes.
having a flood at one of the salt manufacturers. I mean, you couldn't write that.
No. No.
But I think, we kept people moving, right? We did our best.
That's right.
Anybody have anything else for Jason?
Perfect.
Thanks,
Thanks, Jason.
How's your replacement coming? How's that going? All right?
Yes, I brought 2 people on
Okay.
because of one person moving up. So yes, they will be starting on November 18th.
That's good. Good.
Do you want to tell us who?
Don't know if I can.
Oh, okay.
No,
Can I? No?
I don't
That's
think
fine.
you can.
No,
No,
no, it's fine.
no.
No,
No,
Uh,
I'm just
They're,
curious.
they're both very knowledgeable,
Text her later.
That's right.
both very knowledgeable. Worked in the bush, did all
Yep.
that, so they're very
Great.
mechanically inclined and can operate a truck and motor and everything else that goes with it, so,
Do they have their A?
yes,
Good.
Excellent.
yes.
And mechanically inclined never hurts for those emergency repairs on the side of the road.
That's right.
Yeah.
So hopefully it'll, like, we have a couple guys that are very mechanically inclined, but it always helps to have more
Yeah.
because there's always a chance that there's gonna be more than one vehicle broke down.
Yep.
But yes, well, hopefully
I
not.
know, best
Yeah.
laid plans.
Yeah.
That's reality.
Yes.
It is.
Okay,
All right.
perfect.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Jason.
Thank you.
Thanks.
He's like,
Okay, so do we want to go over Dave's report? Or does anybody have any questions with Dave's report? I guess
The chief's not here to
the
answer the
chief's
question.
not here, but I didn't see any. So we'll just adopt his report then as submitted, I guess?
Yep.
Nobody has
Report
any.
is, I'll just file the
Yeah.
reports at our evening meeting.
Okay. So. There you go. You keep moving, or do you want to take a little break?
I could use a washroom break.
You use the washroom break? Okay.
Don't mind.
Okay, we'll take a 5-10 minute break.
Thanks.
Sandra? All right. We're back at it. Correspondence.
Just so you guys are aware, I did let the people from Eorn know that we had already signed a letter a lot of people had for one of the providers.
Mhm.
So that ship had kind of sailed, but they wanted to, yeah. So I think what we have to do is if somebody else asks for a letter of support, we have to give it to sort of all the providers, all the telcos. Sorry about that. Wasn't aware that it was a,
Yeah, you can't sort of favor one over the rest.
no. Everybody like the partnership fund announcement?
Like that?
Yes.
I think we can make up that 7,000. I feel very fortunate for the 2020 year in our budget.
Mhm.
Excellent. That, there was a lot of lobbying effort on behalf of all the organizations, AMO, Roma, EOWC, WOWC, FONOM. So nice to see that the government is listening. Do you want me to go on?
Is there anything else on correspondence?
Yeah, the provincial policy statement. I just want you to know that we are going to send, actually, we have sent on October 28th, I believe, a letter to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing. We had 7 outstanding issues in the official plan for Renfrew County, and none of them were addressed. So we are going back, and when we do a resolution, I will bring it to this table and we'll send it off. Instead of doing a sort of general, this is why we don't like the PPS, we were sticking it into, this is why it doesn't work for Renfrew County. So our growth plans, karst, there were 7 different issues.
Do you think we got a hope in hell of changing it from must be consistent with to have a regard for?
And that's a very good question, Merv. That was sort of the flavor that we were getting, that it would be more shalls than mays.
Yes.
And so we would like it to be,
More may,
yes, more, yes,
mays,
yeah. So sorry, I did that backwards.
Must be
So-
consistent with, have regard for. Give us a little
Exactly.
wiggle room.
Yeah. So our amazing planning staff at the county are all over it. So we've sent back our very grave concerns. Obviously the biggest thing, we don't want to lose our ability to sever. So,
Yes.
Anyway.
CHR doesn't want a deer yard.
They would be really badly affected.
Yes.
Almost all of KH&R would be a deer yard.
More growth here then, I guess.
Anything else on correspondence?
There was, the financial indicator review was there, but it's not listed here. Did you want to, Sandra, going to talk about that or?
The FIR is always 1.5 years late.
Yeah.
Or 1.5 years
But I mean,
in the rear view.
our indicators are that we're right in there.
And that is actually what speaks to our partnership fund.
Yeah.
That's sort of one of the indicators that increases or decreases our partnership fund.
Yeah.
But it's a bit frustrating when it's literally 1.5 to 2 years old.
Yeah, I know.
And that's not our fault.
Oh, no.
That's,
Yeah, just 20.
Province. Okay.
That's it for correspondence
So we
then?
don't have a conservation authority. We don't want anything.
we
to do
don't
with
have
it.
any.
We don't want anything to do with
No,
them.
we don't. That's right.
No. All right, well, I guess then we'll move on to County of Renfrew update.
Buckle in, boys. So I had an amazing October as the warden and did a lot of very interesting things. So I'm just going to touch on a few. I did go to the Bonnechere Manor Gala. It raised $23,000 and in support of the foundation. It was a wonderful, wonderful night. And in a minute, I will get to where some of those monies will be going to. On October 7th, I went to the Canadian Institute of Forestry 11th National Convention, which was held in Pembroke. So I got to go and address them. there was actually a delegation of 15 representatives from Spain they were here to learn sustainable forestry practices. But of course, all of our wonderful valley foresters were there and foresters from across Canada. So it was a pretty neat event to attend. And what Pauline was just referring to, on October 9th, I had the opportunity to go with the chair of our health committee, Michael Bonnechere, Mayor Michael, and our director of long-term care, Shelley Sheedy, some staff from Bonnechere Manor and Miramichi Lodge, and some of the foundation members. And we went on a 10-hour bus trip, 5 hours there, 5 hours back, to see the butterfly model that the Malton Long-Term Care Home has implemented. We got on the bus. I was quite nervous. Obviously, I've never worked in a long-term care home, and I wasn't sure how broad spectrum the dementia would be. This is specifically for dementia patients. It was one of the most beautiful experiences I've had in my 3 years being warden, and maybe even in my 9 years of being mayor. They have created something so simple yet scalable. So what they've done is they've taken a unit in this large long-term care home, and they've made 2 units, one of which is the lower dementia, the other one is full dementia. And what they've done is they've painted the walls the brightest colors you've ever seen. And what I didn't realize is as you get older and you have dementia, those colors would actually appear. So a bright purple would actually appear lavender. They use doll therapy. They have a kitchen in each unit where they've got the smells of what your own kitchen would smell like. So they've got onions frying on the stove. They're not feeding the residents those onions necessarily, but they've tried to create a home environment, in your own home. And when you go and stay in a hotel, the sounds in your home, right? When your furnace comes on, when your water pump comes on. It's those little things that, your own smells. And so they've tried to recreate that home environment. I could tell you 15 different stories. I will tell you that they've changed their model. This is all person centric. So, and the smiles on the staff's faces, they're so engaged and they're so proud of what they're doing. And we all got back on the bus, and I said to Shelley Sheedy, this isn't an if, we must do this to take care of our most vulnerable. And I know you worked in long-term care for a long time. I think that this is going to change the face of how we care for this vulnerable population. But every time I think about it, I do this. Like it was very emotional, but beautiful at the same time. Like it wasn't at all what I thought. And I did go in with some amount of trepidation, having not been in that environment. So I will tell you, when this comes to fruition here at our manor and our lodge, I will certainly ensure that everybody gets a tour just to see how incredible that is. And I will say that most of the proceeds from the gala will be spent. This is something that the foundations from both homes have agreed to fund. And again, it's the simplest, littlest things. It's not going to be $1 million renovation to either home. So just, something so simple that you never think about. And one of the staff, there was a gentleman prior to this that just sat in his wheelchair in the hall, and staff walked by him every day. And when they brought this model in, he started to speak. And one day he said to his caregiver, I want to go home. And that was the first time that he'd said a full sentence in about 2 years. He knew instinctively that when they changed it, he knew he wasn't in his own home. but he had been just sitting there in this sterile environment, gray walls, and anyway, so, and he started to speak again, which is, it's a miracle. Sorry. So in other news, on October 17th, the Honorable Mary Lee Fullerton, the Minister of Long-Term Care, was here with our own Minister, John Yakubuski, and Councillor Peter Emo, Mayor Don Eby, Chair Michael Donahue, and some county staff. We had a working lunch. Mary Lee was, Minister Fullerton was able to go out with the community paramedicine team. She actually went and visited one of the patients that gets their home care through this community paramedicine to show her the importance and how wonderful this program is. She did get to fly the drone as well. I think that was a highlight to her day. She really enjoyed that. And then she toured Bonnechere Manor. So Chief Mike Nolan put this together. And I will say that in an article in the Ottawa Citizen mid last week, Minister Fullerton actually used Renfrew County as an example of how community paramedicine can help with ending hallway medicine. And I think that that's some fantastic news, and kudos to all of our paramedics and everybody that believed in this program. And of course, the province of Ontario that funded it as a pilot project. I will tell you that there are other of my colleagues right now that are saying this is something that they feel that they have to implement because it's such a success. October 18th and 19th, I went to the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus. We discussed the 2020 priorities. There'll be an inaugural in January, the Roma Conference, and the 2020 budget. October 23rd, I of course attended the Shared Services Forum. Staff will be bringing forward a report to the November Finance and Admin Committee of the county. I think as a first blush, this was a fairly productive meeting for us to sort of sit around and say, okay, this is what we're doing, or this is what we're sharing. So it was just an initial basically get together, very well represented, 19 municipalities. So all of ours, South Algonquin and the city of Pembroke, correct? Yeah. So stay tuned for that. On October 24th and 25th and 26th, I went to AMO's 2019 Fall Policy Forum entitled Still on the Front Lines. There were many presentations. It was an excellent, excellent thing to go to. I did put my name forward for a couple of task forces, so I won't be bored next year, not being warden. It was funny when we first sat down, Tim said to me, what'd you sign up for? Basically, like he instinctively knew I couldn't just not do anything, correct? The greatest news in this is that the Honorable Steve Clark, Municipal Affairs and Housing, was there. I'm happy to report that he did not see my miserable karaoke performance. He came off the elevator after that to where we were. But in the morning, he announced that the government will provide $125 million over 4 years to 405 small and rural municipalities. This is application-based funding, and it is to further the modernization funding that we got this year. So I believe Bonnechere Valley got 600,000. Is that about right? 594 maybe?
592.
592. There you go. This is something that we did ask for at the AMO conference from Steve Clark's parliamentary assistant, Carmen Gill. We also spoke with the Honorable Todd Smith about extending this funding because we found it so useful. The government listened. They will also be they're going to begin consultations on aligning the provincial and municipal budget cycle. We're December 31st, they're March 31st. So obviously created some challenges. They will not be forcing amalgamation. That was made extremely clear. And they will be providing municipalities with resources to support local decision-making and will not be pursuing a top-down approach. So these were very welcome announcements from Minister Clark in person at what I consider a very important policy meeting. There were only about 100 of us there. So a small working group who were able to network and listen to very important presentations. So that is my update for the County of Renfrew. Thanks for your indulgence. Sorry about the crying.
That's okay.
Just I guess we've got lots of time talking about healthcare on the crying. Daughter's working for a firm, an organization now in Saskatchewan that is daycare for children with serious ailments. I mean, it'd be something in the city. I mean, I don't even up here, but some of them are palliative.
Oh, that's so sad.
She's got one 13-year-old who was born apparently normal, but got into her mother's drugs at about age 3, and she's mental problems and in a wheelchair. And
Oh, that's horrible.
a lot of them are situations that the parents never come to see them.
That's,
I think we need that in the city.
yeah. Thanks, Mert. I just dried my eyes.
There we go. Okay. Recycling? We put that on.
Do you want Jason back to address that? Or I think he was gonna look at some options, prices on like recycling, new recycling
Okay.
trucks
Oh, okay.
versus contracting.
Yeah.
Yes, I figured, we were
Yeah.
probably soon gonna have to bite on that sooner or later, and it should be discussed.
I wasn't sure if somebody had put this on
Well,
there saying.
I kind of talked
recycle-
with you a week or so ago about it, and,
Forgot to have it brought up.
Gotta
and
modernize
Has
the
we
garbage
gotten anything
fleet.
yet or not? No. Jason?
I don't know, him and I just talked about it last week.
Yeah, so realistically, we can put it off until he's back a month from now. It's not really gonna make a
Yeah, it's not
difference.
gonna make a hill of beans
Yeah.
difference.
So
I-
that
you know-
way he'll have time to get some information for us.
At this AMO policy meeting, I did have an interesting conversation with a gentleman that was presenting on waste diversion. And I read his badge. I can't remember what his name was, but I read his badge and then it said waste diversion. And I said, it's a bad time to hold that position. He said, I know. And we were talking about Tim Hortons, that they used to say waste, paper, plastic, and now they say waste.
Waste. Yeah.
So I think the idea, of course, and we've heard this over and over again, is to have recycling paid by the manufacturers, not by the taxpayers. But I don't know where we are in that process necessarily. But yeah, I think Jason looking into it is a great idea.
Bonnechere Valley Animal Shelter. I guess that's referring to the email we got from Steve, Sandra, the increase.
That was what Steve discussed last time.
Yeah.
And then he sent you a copy of the draft letter.
Yeah.
I wasn't here at our last meeting, so I saw the letter.
Yeah, basically because of shortfalls within the operating of the pound, he feels it's time that we
And we haven't had a
reach out-
substantial increase in a while,
reach out
right?
for an increase to the municipalities that are part
Greater
of the pound.
Madawaska dropped out, and the Greater Madawaska dropped out.
They did?
I think so.
Oh.
I'd have to read his letter, but I'm sure Greater one dropped out.
Well, that was from before though, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
wasn't,
not
that-
because.
No,
of-
no.
okay.
that wasn't recently.
That was
So-
recent. No.
Are you just looking for staff direction to
Yeah.
send this
We
letter?
just have a
to-
resolution.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a
The letter's
resolution,
gone.
okay.
Okay.
All right.
Amston Bromley, investing community infrastructure, recreation culture,
So
That's
there's a
yours?
resolution in.
As a letter of support.
letter of support. Okay, and
already talked about Sunset thing, so.
And destruction to gravel roads.
we've already talked about
Yep.
both of them. Anything else?
Nope.
Then we have a couple of closes, so I guess we're looking for media.
Yeah, I'm good today. Thanks, Jack.
So maybe one last thing, Jack and Brent and I attended the first aid CPR course. And somebody took a picture of all the nice donuts and sent it to Tim, being it wasn't there.
Well, that was.
Oh, for the legal
The legal-
seminar.
No, that was the legal.
The legal-
seminar.
Yeah, yeah.
They didn't bring you a donut?
They didn't bring me donuts.
There was a
and,
lot of extra donuts too.
Yeah,
Why? Well,
Yeah.
encourage-
I took it, I
See
took a
that?
picture too,
See
but I
that
was
boost I
gonna,
take?
Hey, Jen,
Yeah,
We were worrying about a suit.
Yeah.
Right.
don't worry, there's some, there's a few
There's a
inches
little
here, especially for
we
donuts.
won't repeat this text.
No. Yeah.
How was that seminar, by the way?
it was really, really good.
It was good.
And the CPR, first aid CPR thing was good too.
Did you guys use the new machine that the paramedics have?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Well, another one of those, we could probably do minor surgery.
I got
Or
a sharp
major.
knife.
Or major.
You don't know, it could
Pack this
happen.
on some venison, we can put it back together.
Okay, I'm glad it was good. I'm sorry I missed both of them, guys.
All right.
I think one I was in Lindsay and one I was in London.
Yeah.
So,
The only thing about the legal, when I was wishing, I wish I would have known what they were going to do. With the employment and hiring process, I would have invited some of the library board there because we're in the process of hiring a chief librarian.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Already done.
All right.
Yep.
So I guess then we'll,
Oh, I was gonna give you a motion to adjourn.
well, we can't adjourn. We have to
No,
go
we
into
have to do
close.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Gotta
Sorry.
go into
about
Nice
close.
try, though.
that.
Nice try.
Couple of closes. So, okay.
I'm glad
Well,
I'm glad I got an opportunity to give you guys all that information. I know it was a lot, but there's so much going on with the province and at the county.
I was
It's
actually expecting you to go for longer. I was kind of
Did you?
disappointed
Yeah.
that it was short.
really,
Yeah. But for the modernization.
You're still on there, Sandra?
Is there any way for like all the wardens to share what their newest house